Hare Krishna. Dandava Pranam to all the devotees and all the sajjanas. I am Satyavrta Maharaja Dasa of Hare Krishna Prasthanam, Thrissur, Kerala. My phone number is 94463101008 and mail ID is satyavrta@yahoo.co.in. So, 16th May 2025 was a landmark day as well as ISKCON, a very famous ancient Vaishnava spiritual organization, is concerned. On that day, a 25-year-old civil case between ISKCON and Bangalore and ISKCON Mumbai, a verdict was passed by the Supreme Court on that day. The case before the Supreme Court was in respect of ownership of an ISKCON beautiful temple, Krishna Balaram temple at Code Road, Rajaji Shale, Bangalore, which was built by Bangalore ISKCON about 30 years back. There was a dispute as to who was a real owner of this property. So the Supreme Court passed a judgment that the Bangalore temple belongs to ISKCON Bangalore, registered at Karnataka, and that ISKCON Mumbai should not interfere with the functioning of ISKCON Bangalore. So with this, officially, ISKCON has been split into two groups, literally. Whether one may like it or not, of course, devotees are very hurt, but there is no way of escaping from the fact that now there are two ISKCONs. One is ISKCON Bangalore, registered in Karnataka. Another is ISKCON Mumbai, registered in Mumbai. But we not be too sorry or sad about this. It has happened to other spiritual organizations also, like Sri Vaishnava Parampara. Now, Sri Vaishnava Parampara has got two groups, Tenkalai and Vadakalai. Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, established by Robert Acharya, Sri Ramanujacharya. But later, the two leaders emerged. One was Pillai Lokacharya, another was Vedanta Deshika. So, there was a philosophical dispute between them. And because of that, about 500 years back, the Sri Vaishnava Parampara split into two, namely Tenkalai and Vadakalai. Now, in case of ISKCON, apparently the dispute is regard to property only. So normally, public, general people who always look forward to the spiritual organizations for their spiritual emancipation will be bewildered and hurt. Why this elite spiritual organizations like ISKCON get embroiled in a property dispute? So is it really a property dispute? ISKCON Bangalore says it is not so. Behind this property dispute, the actual reason is Siddhanta only, philosophy only, Tattva only. While ISKCON Mumbai, otherwise this it's not related to Siddhanta. Bangalore says that it is a difference between Guru Tattva between Bangalore group and the Mumbai group, which ultimately led to this property dispute. Guru Tattva ought to be more specific, the question of initiation or Diksha. Now, Diksha or initiation is a very important process in the life of a devotee aspiring for spiritual emancipation. Diksha actually means when a person who takes a Diksha, his past sinful reactions are destroyed and he is bestowed with transcendental knowledge. And what is this transcendental knowledge? Transcendental knowledge is a proper understanding of absolute truth. And absolute truth proclaimed by Prabala Shastras is that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when a devotee is blessed with that realization, he will ultimately reach the goal of realizing Krishna. Now, the person who is giving this initiation, or the guru who is giving this initiation, is called Diksha Guru, or initiating spiritual master, Diksha Guru. Now, the question here is in front of ISKCON is that who is a Diksha Guru in ISKCON? According to the Bangalore group, they maintain that Srila Prabhupada, who was a founder and Acharya of ISKCON, remains as a sole initiating Guru or sole spiritual master, Diksha Guru of ISKCON, entire ISKCON, while the Bombay group says it is not so. It is a current gurus who are the real Diksha Gurus and not Srila Prabhupada. So, which is right? Which argument or which point, which perspective, which understanding is a correct one? To understand this, we have to examine three very important and vital documents in connection with initiation in ISKCON. These documents, in a chronological order, is first a conversation which Srila Prabhupada had with the GBC members of ISKCON on 28th May 1977. Conversation 28th May 1977. The second document in connection with this is a will prepared by Srila Prabhupada on 4th June 1977. And the third one is an order issued by Srila Prabhupada on initiation on 9th July 1977. So, three documents. First one is 28/5/1977. Second one, 4/6/1977. And third one, 9/7/1977. If you completely study thoroughly these three papers, then only you will have a complete or whole understanding of this issue. So let's start with the first document, namely the conversation with the GBC members by Srila Prabhupada. Now the background of this conversation is that Srila Prabhupada, as we know, had set up ISKCON in 1965, and within 12 years, he had established about 110 temples all over the world. 1977, by 1977, he was about 81 years old and was very old, sick. And April 1977, he came back from Europe to Vrindavan. At that time, he was very tired, very sick. And there are so many videos about Srila Prabhupada during that time. And everybody knew that it's only a matter of time before Srila Prabhupada will leave this planet. So this was almost certain. So many things have to be finalized before Srila Prabhupada left for his abode. And GBC, the governing body council of ISKCON, is the highest management body set up by Srila Prabhupada for the smooth functioning of ISKCON. And the primary function of GBC, as stated in 1/1975, resolution number 1/1975, is that GBC's sole and only job is to carry out the instructions given by Srila Prabhupada, which they consider as their soul and life and soul. These instructions, GBC members consider it as a life and soul and carry out these instructions so mercifully given by Srila Prabhupada. This is as per the resolution number 1/1975, GBC resolution. So GBC is responsible, and GBC are very, very senior disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Many of them are sannyasis. And so they thought that before Srila Prabhupada leaves, we have to settle so many things. And so they requested for a meeting and was sanctioned. So on 28th May 1977, the meeting took place at Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada's ashram, Krishna Balaram Temple, Vrindavan. So the group, almost all the GBC members were present, and they were led by Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj and Satsvarupa Das Goswami. So they discussed many things to be settled, and was quite a long interview conversation. This you can find in Veda base. We go to Veda base conversations, year-wise conversations there, 1965 to 1977. If you go to 1977, you'll find that 28th May 1977, Srila Prabhupada meets the GBC members. So after asking for many things to be settled, and then Satsvarupa Das asked this pertinent question. Now, I'm going to read out from this conversation, and it's very, very important. Proper understanding of this document is very, very necessary. So Satsvarupa Das asks Srila Prabhupada. Then, I'm quoting, then our next question concerns initiations in the future. Next question concerns initiations in the future, particularly at that time when you are no longer with us. So this is a question. Particularly in future, the initiations in future, particularly at that time when you are no longer with us. It means when you leave your body, when you are on samadhi, what should be the process of initiation? How initiation should be conducted? This is the question. So from this, it is very clear that the process of initiation contemplated in the future is after Srila Prabhupada leaves his body. That is why particularly. Many hold the view the Mumbai ISKCON, they say that this process of initiation is only temporary, only till Srila Prabhupada is alive, this arrangement. But from this wording, you can very clearly understand that, particularly at that time when you are no longer with us. So this is a question, and he asks for we want to know what? We want to know how first and second initiation should be conducted. So this is a question posed by H.G.Satyavrta Dasa Goswami Maharaj, who had written the Prabhupada Lilamrita, the biography of the first biography of Srila Prabhupada. He is a very senior most disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And then Srila Prabhupada gives a reply, quote, Srila Prabhupada says, yes, I shall recommend some of you after this is settled up. After this is settled up, and whatever that has been discussed before, some matters relating to management and everything that is settled up, then I shall recommend some of you. I shall recommend some of you to act as officiating acharyas. Please attend it properly. He says, I shall recommend some of you to act as officiating acharyas. Then Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, who was actually at that secretary of Srila Prabhupada at that time, another senior disciple, sannyasi, he asks, is that called Ritvik Acharya? Is that called Ritvik Acharya? Srila Prabhupada, Ritvik, yes. Yes, Ritvik. Now, what is Ritvik? In Srimad Bhagavatam 4th canto, you find the word Ritvik, which means actually helper. When a yajna is conducted, there is a main pujari and what is called, and other there are helpers also who are is known as Ritviks. So Ritvik means helpers or representatives. Here, Ritviks is mentioned as a representative. Then Satsirvadas asks, what is the relationship between the person who gives initiation and what is the relationship between the person who gives the initiation and Srila Prabhupada says, he's Guru, he's Guru. So he's doing initiation. Now, you have to understand this. Again, a small example, how to understand this properly. Suppose there is an NRI, one Ramesh is an NRI, and he's residing outside India. He's having bank accounts and other property dealings in India. He gives a power of attorney to one Suresh. Now, Suresh can operate his bank and other things. He can buy property also using these funds. He can sign the documents pertaining to these documents, pertaining to this property. But ultimately, since Suresh is acting as a power of attorney, is representing Ramesh, the property actually belongs to Ramesh only. Same way, though these Ritvik officiating acharyas giving initiation, the real Guru is actually Srila Prabhupada only. They are only representatives. Then Satsubhadas asks again, but he does it on your behalf. Then Srila Prabhupada understands this. Yes, that is formality, because in my presence, one should not become a Guru. So on my behalf, on my order, Amara Ajnaya Guruhana. So Srila Prabhupada could understand the trend. If Srila Prabhupada says, I am the Guru and you are representative, there is actually no question of who's actually Guru and whose disciple this devotee is going to be. Now, the question posed by Satsirvadas is actually the real intention behind that. He said, when will be a time when we become regular Gurus? When we become regular Gurus, now we are Ritviks, we accept representatives. but when we shall become regular gurus. So Srila Prabhupada could understand that. So he says, on my order, Amara Ajnaya Guruhana. Amara Ajnaya Guruhana is a quotation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Be action guru. But my order, on my order only. Then again, Satsuradas asked, so they may also be considered your disciples. Now, this is a bit confusion. They also be considered as your disciples. Srila Prabhupada says, yes, they are disciples. Consider who? They are disciples. Then Tamal Krishna Goswami makes it very clear. He says, no, he is asking that these Ritvik Acharyas, they are officiating, giving Diksha, the people who they give Diksha to, whose disciple are they? So the Ritvik people, Ritvik Acharyas, who are officiating, giving initiation on behalf of Srila Prabhupada, the disciples that whom they are giving Diksha, the people to whom they are giving Diksha, whose disciple are they? Then Srila Prabhupada says that they are his disciples. Again he repeats, Srila Prabhupada could understand this. Then he says, they are his disciples. Tamal Krishna Goswami asks, they are his disciples. Srila Prabhupada says, who is initiating? Then my grand disciple. So Srila Prabhupada could understand this, that actually they want to know when they will be regular gurus, and in the event they become a regular guru, and then the people whom they are initiating will be their disciples, and in turn they will be grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada. So Tamal Krishna Goswami and Satsubhada says, yes, that is very clear now. Then Srila Prabhupada says finally, again he says, when I order, you become guru. When I order, become a regular guru. That's all, become disciple and my disciple. So when I order, he says here, when I order, you become guru. So this means this discussion, this conversation between the GBC members and Srila Prabhupada is at a discussion level only. There are three parts to this discussion. First one is very, very clear that the process of initiation contemplated in the future is after Srila Prabhupada leaves his body or becomes Sabhata. So that means it is a permanent arrangement. It's not a temporary arrangement as claimed or as understood by the ISKCON Mumbai group. The second portion is bit it's a bit not very clear, but the understanding is that even if, as the Mumbai people says, the people whom the Ritvik Acharyas giving Disha are the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, of these Ritvik people only, not Srila Prabhupada. The people to whom the Ritvik Acharyas giving Diksha are disciples of Ritvik Acharyas only. The third portion, Srila Prabhupada says, when I order, then everything will be settled, it will be confirmed. Now, this word, when I order, was taken by the Mumbai group as I ordered. When I order is taken as I ordered. Suppose I have to go to an airport. So I will say, I'll call a Uber taxi. I'll order for a Uber taxi, and then I'll go to airport. If I say that, will a taxi come in front of my house? I have to call the Uber company and give the order, then only the car will come. So when Srila Prabhupada says, when I order, he has to give an order, then only all those things which I have discussed will come into force. So this is the first document relating to initiation, the 28th May 1977, conversation of Srila Prabhupada with the GBC members. Then Srila Prabhupada had promised that he will issue an order on this. But before giving order, in 4th June 1977, exactly 1 week after the conversation, Srila Prabhupada prepared his will. This is available in net also. You can search it out, Will of Srila Prabhupada. In the preamble portion, Srila Prabhupada says, I am going to read out this will now. Declaration of will. This is called Declaration of Will. Date 4th June 1977. Center Krishna Balaram Mandir, Bhaktivedanta Swami Marg, Raman Reti, Vrindavana. I, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, settler of the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, and disciple of Om Vishnupada 108, Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaja Prabhupada, presently residing at Sri Krishna Balarama Mandir in Vrindavana, make this my last will. This is my last will. So the first clause of this will, is 1, the governing body commission, GBC, will be the ultimate management authority of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. This is the ultimate body in ISKCON. Second, clause number 2. Each temple will be an ISKCON property and will be managed by 3 executive directors. The system of management will continue as it is now, and there is no need for any change. So all the properties, the temple properties belonging in India, belong to ISKCON in India, will be managed by 3 executive directors. That is point 1. But more important point is, the system of management will continue as it is now, and there is no need for any change. Very clearly, Srila Prabhupada says, no change. And many of these writings, you will find that Srila Prabhupada says, there is no need to reduce or less, or no need to add. Don't subtract, no add. As it is, don't change anything. Now the third clause. The properties in India will be managed by the following executive directors. Now the names of a few directors who are the disciples of Srila Prabhupada is given in respect of 5 properties at that time in India. 1 is property at Mayapur Dhama. 2nd, property at Vrindavanas. 3 properties in Bombay at that time. Properties at Bhubaneswar and properties at Hyderabad. 5 places. In each of these temples, Srila Prabhupada appoints directors who are all disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Now, in the next paragraph, Srila Prabhupada states, the executive directors who have herein been designated are appointed for life. They are appointed for life. In the event of death or failure of for any reason of any other said directors, a successor director or directors may be appointed by the remaining directors if anyone dies or not able to function anyway because of ill health or whatever it is. Then a successor director or directors may be appointed by the remaining directors, provided, here is a catch, provided the new director is my initiated disciple, is my initiate disciple following strictly all the rules and regulations of International Society for Krishna Consciousness as detailed in my books. So provided they are my initiated disciple. And provides that there are never less than 3 or more than 5 executive directors acting at one time. So this is a very critical clause of the will. It says that if any one of the directors dies or incapacitated, then a new director can be appointed, provided he is a initiated disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Now, we all know, as per teachings of Srila Prabhupada, ISKCON will be around, will be in this, on this earth, functioning for 10,000 years. And in all the 10,000 years, the temples will be remaining. And in that case, if the directors, executive directors of the temple should be initiate devotees, disciples of Srila Prabhupada, then it is very clear what system of initiation that Srila Prabhupada has had in mind and determined. It's very clear. Otherwise, how will you satisfy this clause? Now, this is a bit problematic for the Mumbai group. So, one of a devotee who is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, very prominent in Mumbai group, Rochana Dasa. Rochana Dasa has written a book called Defeat of Ritvikism. The Defeat of Ritvikism is acclaimed to be a very great book on defeating this Ritvik system of initiation. And very popular in the Mumbai group. And in that book, when addressing this problem, how to circumvent this problem, he has suggested that if the last of the initiate devotees of Srila Prabhupada are going to leave the earth, doesn't mean that the property, the ISKCON properties become defunct and has to be carried out to some government agencies. It's not like that. Then what can be done is that the remaining directors, last few directors, Srila Prabhupada's initiative, last few directors, they can come to an agreement, draft an agreement, whereby how to continue this process of running the temple. They can have an agreement between themselves. Or in case there is a dispute between these members, they may approach a court for a fair solution, keeping in view of Srila Prabhupada's desires and the current scenario, and the court may give a correct verdict or judgment on this. So this is a brilliant way he has tried to circumvent this clause that the directors shall be always initiate disciples of Srila Prabhupada. But unfortunately, he had overlooked the second condition, the second clause, where very specifically Srila Prabhupada says there should not be a change. Nothing should be changed. That means no clauses can be modified. Of course, some modification has taken place. While Srila Prabhupada is called codicil, but these 1, 2, 3 clauses are not be modified. Some minor clauses are there in the will, which has been modified at a later date while Srila Prabhupada was alive. But not these 3 vital points. So that cannot be modified. We remember a story of Solomon the Wise. Solomon the Wise is very renowned. So one day, into his darbar, into his court, two women came carrying a child, and both of them claimed that the child is theirs. And Solomon tried reconciliation. He tried to talk to them, mediation, but both the women were not budging. They were very adamant. The child is mine only. Give it to me. So ultimately, Solomon then said, bring a sword. The sword was bought. Then he said, now I am going to cut this child in two pieces, and I shall give one piece to one of you, both of you. So the one lady who heard this, one woman, she fainted. She said, you give that child to her. The other child, he cut it, no problem. So this is adamant way of saying that, come whatever, come hell, come high water, we will not agree to this Ritvik system of initiation. That's adamant stand. So this is a second clause, the second document pertaining to initiation, which is the will of Srila Prabhupada, in which Srila Prabhupada has said that only his initiate disciples can be the directors for all times to come. Now we come to the last document, which is a very important document, which is called the order. Order which Srila Prabhupada promised that he will issue to members of this GBC on 28th May. So this is the order. This order is prepared by Tamala Krishna Goswami, who was the secretary at the time, and was signed by Srila Prabhupada. It's a signed document. Say, this is called, dated July 9, 1977, addressed to all GBC and temple presidents. To all GBC and temple presidents. It is a very, very official order addressed to all the members of GBC and all the temple presidents, like 110 orders, especially in Indian presidents, Indian temples, and all the GBC members. It starts, Dear Maharaja Dasa and Prabhus, letter is drafted by Tamal Krishna Goswami. It says, please accept my humble obeisances at your feet. Recently, when all of the GBC members were with His Divine Grace Vrindavan, in Vrindavana, Srila Prabhupada indicated that soon he would appoint some of his senior disciples to act as Ritvik representatives of the Acharya. So, what is that? When the members of GBC were with Prabhupada in Vrindavana, which obviously is a 28th May 1977. He is referring to that only. Srila Prabhupada indicated that soon he would appoint some of his senior disciples as Ritvik representatives of Acharya for the purpose of performing initiations, both first initiation and second initiation, as requested by Sasrubadas. He had asked for that. So Srila Prabhupada is giving an order for us. His Divine Grace has so far given a list of 11 disciples who will act in that capacity. Is very important. Very important sentence. He is appointing these disciples of Ritvik, and then he says, His Divine Grace has so far given a list of 11 disciples who will act in that capacity, in the capacity of officiating Acharya as a representative only. The 11 names are given: His Holiness Kirtananda Swami, His Holiness Satsvarupadas Goswami, His Holiness Jayapadaga Swami, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami, His Holiness Bhavananda Goswami, His Holiness Hamsaduda Goswami, His Holiness Rameshwara Swami, His Holiness Harikesha Swami, His Grace Bhagavan Das Adhikari, His Grace Jayatirtha Das Adhikari. So I can say out of 11, 9 are sannyasis only. 2 are not sannyasis, but very, very senior disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Now the order continues. In the past, temple presidents have written to Srila Prabhupada recommending a particular devotee's initiation. Now that Srila Prabhupada has named these representatives, temple presidents may henceforward send recommendation for the first and second initiation to whichever of these 11 representatives are nearest their temple. So previously, letters were sent by temple president directly to Srila Prabhupada for giving initiation for selected members, selected devotees. Now it says that need be sent to only these representatives who are residing in that area. So these representative Ritik Acharyas later were termed as zonal Acharyas. So ISKCON was divided into 11 zone and the zonal Acharyas. After considering the recommendation, these representatives may accept the devotee as an initiated disciple of Srila Prabhupada. As an initiated disciple of Srila Prabhupada by giving a spiritual name, or in the case of second initiation, by chanting on the Gayatri thread, just as Srila Prabhupada had done. So the first name, in case of first initiation, a spiritual name is given and he's accepted as an initiated disciple of Srila Prabhupada only. The newly initiated devotees, again, are disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The above 11 senior devotees acting as his representative. Again and again confirming the same thing. The newly initiated devotees are disciples of Srila Prabhupada only, and these acharyas, the officiating people, are acting as representatives only. And then, after the temple president receives a letter from these representatives giving spiritual name or thread, he can perform the fire yajna in the temple as was being done before. The name of a newly initiated disciple should be sent by the representative who has accepted him or her to Srila Prabhupada to be included in His Divine Grace Initiated Disciples book. So Srila Prabhupada was maintaining Initiated Disciples book, and these representatives should send the name of the newly initiated disciple directly to Srila Prabhupada to be added, to be included in this book. So this is the order. It's very, very clear. So if you read these vital documents, 3 vital documents together, then it is very clear that Srila Prabhupada has ordained only Ritik system only, and Srila Prabhupada is a Diksha Guru of ISKCON for all times to come. Then what has happened? In 1978, after Srila Prabhupada had left, the first GBC meeting, annual GBC meeting happens after Gaura Purnima in the month of March. So in the month of March 1978, the first GBC meeting after Srila Prabhupada left, in that meeting, questions were raised by many members as to how the initiation should be conducted in ISKCON now that Srila Prabhupada is no longer with us. So it was raised as an agenda. And then on the third day, the last day of this GBC meeting, 1978. Now we can go to net and we can type this, we can see this GBC resolutions 1978. Then you will find what I got was GBC 1978 to 2013, one block. So every year meeting, every year GBC meeting is there. So 1978 meeting is the first meeting after Srila Prabhupada had left. So on the third day of this, on the last day of this meeting, a resolution was passed. A resolution was passed that the 11 disciples who have been selected as gurus by Srila Prabhupada will give initiation. There is no need for an additional guru. This is the resolution passed by the GBC at the time. So the 11 is a magical number. They retained that 11, but they omitted the real content of this order. In our spiritual circles, this is called Ardha Kukudi Nyaya, half in logic. Accepting something favorable for you and rejecting what is not favorable for you. So resolution, GVC resolution says that the 11 disciples selected as gurus by Srila Prabhupada will act as gurus, will be the gurus, and there is no need for any more additional gurus. It's a blatant violation of the order, as one can see. Very blatant violation. How it happened? If you go to net, we can find a video of Puri Maharaj, who was a very dear godbrother of Srila Prabhupada. Puri Maharaj is very famous. And in that video, Puri Maharaj is confirming that Srila Prabhupada had not appointed gurus, he had appointed only Ritvikism. Now the point is, the video, the conversation starts by Puri Maharaj. It starts with, he says, the Westerners have no tradition. The Westerners have no tradition. And what does he mean by that no tradition? Tradition, as we find in India, is a Vedic tradition. Vedic tradition which is flourishing in the Vedic society, known otherwise as Varnashrama society. Varna and Ashrama. This is our society. This is our system. This is a Vedic system, which is including in the Varnashrama system. So in the Varnashrama system, the Vedic traditions, the Vedic teachings is given the maximum prominence, and they are the means, these traditions are the means by which one can get out of this bondage. So in the Varnashrama system, the Vedic tradition is a thing that is most prominent, that is in the center. In the system outside Varnashrama, there are societies outside Varnashrama also. In the Indian tradition, these people outside the Varnashrama system are generally categorized as Mlechas. Mlechas means who are not following the Vedic tradition. So, Puri Maharaj, by mentioning that they don't have a tradition, which means that they are basically Mlechas only. The Westerners are basically Mlechas. But Srila Prabhupada, now we have to understand what is the meaning of Mlecha. Mlechas are people who are the high mode of passion, highest mode of passion. Always ruled by Rajogun and Tamogun. And lust and greed are the prominent features. What is lust and greed? We have to understand this also. Sripada Shankaracharya, in his 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he differentiates what is lust, that is kama, and greed, lobha. Kama, he says, is a intense desire for possessions and positions. Intense desire for possessions and positions. And lobha, greed, he says, is an intense desire for others' possessions and positions. Others' possessions and positions. This is lobha, and this is a hallmark of a mlecha. This is a no holds bar discussion, so we have to speak very frankly. Now, the Westerners basically were mlechas, but Srila Prabhupada, by strenuous effort for 11 years, continuous 11 years, he converted all these mlechas into Goswamis. That is the biggest achievement by Srila Prabhupada, apart from these temples and all those that he has achieved in his lifetime. What he has done, that he had changed these mlechas, converted mlechas into Goswamis. If you see the verse 6 of Nectar of Instruction, you can see how deeply, how with motion, with passion, compassion, Srila Prabhupada is defending his disciples who were not actually recognized by other Gaudiya sections. Srila Prabhupada says that, yeah, they are Goswamis only. So he changed these mlechas into Goswamis. But once Srila Prabhupada left, some of these people, they revert their original Swarupa. Not all. Few, many were remaining as Goswamis also. Why? Why they remain as Goswamis? Because they were attached to lotus feet of their spiritual master. They carried out the instruction. They always, their life and soul depend on Srila Prabhupada only. So they remained as Goswamis, but those who had violated the order became again mlechas. In Srimad Bhagavatam, you will find in 7.5.46, 7th canto, 5th chapter, 46 verse, and Hiranyakashipu is contemplating on Prahlad Maharaj. He says that he compares Prahlad Maharaj's behavior and his undying spirit of always taking the name of Krishna, Lord, in all circumstances. He says it is a Shuna Sheba. Shuna Sheba means dog tail. Shuna Sheba means dog tail. Dog tail, as you know, is always curved. Now, if you keep a dog's tail in a pipe for many years, as long as the pipe is there, the dog tail will be straight. But once you take out the pipe, again becomes curved. So, as long as Srila Prabhupada was there, everyone was a Goswami. But once Srila Prabhupada left, those who disobeyed Srila Prabhupada became mlechas again. But they were the persons who were deciding. What happened in the later years? Those who have become gurus and holding prominent positions, they drove out all other disciples of Srila Prabhupada. This is confirmed by Jaya Advaita Swami, who is a prominent votary of the Mumbai GBC. Sorry, Mumbai ISKCON. He's a very foremost, he's a opponent of this Ritvik system. But he says in his book, where the Ritvik people are right, where the Ritvik people are right, he is very clearly admitting these facts. Some facts are admitted by him. He says, fact, ISKCON gurus have opposed, oppressed, and driven out many sincere God brothers and God sisters. Yes, fact, again, ISKCON gurus have usurped and misused money and diverted other ISKCON resources for their own personal prestige and sense gratification. Another fact, ISKCON gurus have illicit sexual intercourse with both women and men and possibly children as well. These facts are admitted by none other than His Holiness H.G.Satyavrta Swami in his book, Where the Ritik People Are Right. Of course, he had written another book called Where the Ritik People Are Wrong, contesting this Ritik system. That is different. So this is what happened after Srila Prabhupada, post 1977. It continued up to 1985. And then all these 9 of these, 10 of these 11 Ritiks or self-declared gurus had fallen. Then there was a big chaos in ISKCON. In the next 1984 GBC meeting, many people got to and they formed a committee that this cannot go on. You have to have more gurus. And then they introduced a new system called voted-in gurus. Voted-in gurus means, suppose I want to be guru, I can give a submit application. And then GBC, suppose there are 30 members. If 2/3, that 20 GBC members support me, then I'll be a guru. This is a new system introduced by these people in place of these 11 gurus. But even at that point, did not think of accepting Srila Prabhupada's order. The real reason is nobody has known about this order. That is the main reason. This order was quashed. Otherwise, it would have been questioned. This is a fact. I had taken initiation in 2002 from Bhakti Siddhartha Swami Maharaj of Raipur. When this issue came up, I discussed with Maharaj. Maharaj, this order is there. As per order, this is so and so. Maharaj said, I am not aware of this. I am not aware of this order. Sri Madhu Pandit told me that even His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj also is not aware of this order, was not aware of this order. So none of these people, this order was not circulated as per direction. It was contained to only these 11 people only. Possibly more, something more also. But by and large, nobody has known this order. Even Maharajas who are initiating gurus now, they are also not aware of this order. Then how this order surfaced? It surfaced in the early 90s when one of these 11 gurus, Hansadura Swami, released certain documents relating to Srila Prabhupada. And in that document, this was ordered. Then started the whole debate. By that time, these devotees, these Maharajas, these gurus had accumulated thousands and thousands and thousands of disciples. And this die-hard, very, very emotional, very, very sentimental disciples of these Maharajas started defending. And then the basic defense, they're trying to defend this abominable act in various ways. Two main contention of this group is that there should always be a living group. Nowhere in Shastras, there is a mention that a guru who had left his body can continue to give initiation. This is against tradition, not Shastra, against tradition. The second point they are raising is, as per the teachings of Srila Prabhupada itself, he was advocating only this only, and he had in his letters, in his interviews, in his conversations, many places he said, I am training these people to be gurus. So this letter cannot be, this order cannot be accepted as final. This is the sum and substance of their arguments. So, when you say that you cannot accept this order of Srila Prabhupada, the direct order of Srila Prabhupada, written very clearly, the direct understanding of the order is that these learned persons are representatives and the devotees whom they initiate are the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. This is a direct understanding, the direct meaning of this order. If you cannot accept that, you're trying to interpret it, reject it, circumvent it, or debate on it, it's actually a criticism of the letter order and thereby criticism of Srila Prabhupada, spiritual master. They're criticizing their spiritual master actually. Because Srila Prabhupada had written that, and you say that this order is not according to tradition, is against the teachings. What are you doing? You are criticizing Srila Prabhupada only. So, if you are speaking of tradition and teachings, we have to understand actually how one views, what is your attitude towards a spiritual master's order. That is most relevant. You can either reject it, you can overlook it, you can circumvent it, you can consider it, consider in the sense whether it's beneficial for me, is actually right or not, actually has it taken and account all this pros and cons, this consideration. But if you go to Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 30th verse, in the purport Srila Prabhupada says, Arjuna should not merely consider the order of Krishna, who is now acting as Guru. He should obey him. No devotee, disciple should consider the order, whether that is beneficial or not, whether it is right or not. This kind of consideration should not be there. You should only obey it. Then debate it, that is also there. And the last one is obey it. Obey it word by word. If you go to Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, conversation between Brahma and Kardama Muni, chapter 24, verse 12 and 13. In verse 12, in the purport Srila Prabhupada says, now Brahma is very pleased with Kardama Muni because he has honored him. He's obeyed his order to do the tapasya for 10,000 years. So in the purport Srila Prabhupada says, to honor a spiritual master means to carry out his instructions order word by word, word for word. Aksharam in Sanskrit, aksharam, word for word you should obey. In the next verse, more important verse, in the verse itself, in the Srimad Bhagavatam verse itself, it says that an order of spiritual master and father should be obeyed with a loud yes sir. Please take this. So this is the actually the attitude of a humble devotee issue, that whatever be the order given by the Guru, it should be obeyed in toto. That is a hallmark of a humble disciple. If you think that you are greater than Guru, you can consider it, interpret it, all those things, then you fall down immediately. In many occasions, many writings, Srila Prabhupada says, once you think you are greater than Guru, you become a dog. Now, if you go to Ramayana, we'll find an occasion of incarnation of the proposed incarnation of Srila Prabhupada, coronation of Sri Ramachandra. In tradition, in the Kshatriya tradition, the first son of a king is always the king. That is a royal tradition. So Sri Ramachandra, as we all know, is the first son of Dasharatha. And Dasharatha has officially proclaimed the coronation of Sri Ramachandra. He said that Sri Ramachandra will be coronated as king. Next king will be Sri Ramachandra. Then Vinasya happened. Kaigevi interfered, and Dasharatha had to change this. Dasharatha called for Sri Ramachandra. Said, "Please, all right. Rama, you are not going to be king. Bharata is going to be king." Ramachandra said, "Yes, father. Yes, Bharata will be king. Rama, you have to go to forest." "Yes, father, I'll go to forest." So the royal tradition it can be compared to the tradition and the declaration of Dasharatha that Sri Ramachandra is going to be the king can be accepted as a teaching. So whether tradition or teachings, ultimately the order is more permanent, is more critical and most relevant, and that should be accepted. But these people are not ready. Even now, so many videos are coming supporting this, life guru, their life is repaired. Then water in system is also right. They'll give so many pramanas from Shastras. Now, okay. Next point, okay. Let's see that there is a genuine concern on the mind of the devotees that the order is not very correct. It is against the tradition. It is against teachings. Now, what should a humble devotee should do? Humble disciple should do? Shastra teaches us that he should approach the spiritual master. Tadvidi pranipadena pariprashrena sevaya. They should have gone to Srila Prabhupada. There are 2 points here. In the meeting, in the GBC meeting, the second portion, let's for argument says that, Srila Prabhupada has said that the Ritik Acharya will be the guru, and people to whom they are giving disha will be their disciples. For argument's sake, let's accept that. But when order came, it is not so. So that could be a point for these people. They could have submitted to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, you had so many times said that we are all going to be gurus, and as per tradition, there should be a live guru. And in the conversation also, you had indicated that the Ritik people who are giving the acharyas, you will be going to guru. When they give the initiation, these people will be their disciples only. They could have submitted to Srila Prabhupada. The normal way, a proper way, a disciple, that should have been done. Did they do that? No. They waited for Srila Prabhupada to leave the body, and then in the GBC resolution of 1978, they declared themselves to be Guru. They're really abominable on that. So the second portion is how this court case was filed, how the Bangalore people, the Bangalore ISKCON came to picture. Now the Bangalore ISKCON temple, the temple president was, or is also, Sri Madhu Pandit Das. Madhu Pandit Das, a very fired up Krishna conscious person. Sadhana is supposed to be very, very rigorous. And he was an initiated disciple of Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. In fact, he was one of the most prominent and dearmost disciple of Jayapataka Swami only. They had very intimate relationship. Madhu Pandit and his other group, Chanchalapati, Jai Chaitanya Das, everyone worshipped Jayapada Swami Maharaj. One Sri George, who is a friend of Madhu Pandit, who had cooperated, who was to do something with the Bangalore temple. He had helped building this temple. He was also an architect. He told me that Madhu Pandit was so devoted and so submissive to Jayapada Swami that he will eat out of the mouth of Jayapada Swami. So they used to obey all the instructions from Jayapada Swami. Actually, the Hare Krishna land, the land in dispute, Jayapada Swami only advised Madhu Pandit to register this land in the name of ISKCON Karnataka. Because he knew that this ISKCON Karnataka of 1978 was incorporated by Hansadut Maharaj. So this was told to me by Jai Chaitanya Das. But the subsequent developments not been very palatable to Jayapada Swami. So here you can find the hand of Krishna. Nothing happens without a cause. So when the temple was built, in normal case, if not every temple persons can build a temple, palatial temples, he needs to be empowered by Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. Then only one person can build. There are thousands of centers, ISKCON temples. That not the centers have got temples. Now he was able to do because he was empowered, his group was empowered, and they built it very nicely. And in normal course, in ISKCON, when you build a temple, when you are temple president, you can continue to be the temple president and you can go higher up in the hierarchy also. So long as you don't violate the 4 principles or don't embroil in criminal activities. At that time, you'll be removed. Otherwise, no point of removing. You continue like that. Then why should Madhu Pandit and his group take the risk of splitting this ISKCON? Doesn't make any sense. These people, other people are saying that they were very greedy. They want to have the temple for themselves. Even otherwise, they are governing the temple only. So why should they do it again? Unnecessarily take the temple. It is because it is very clearly stated that 1997, 96, 97, this order which was released then came to notice of Madhu Pandit and his group. And the penchant for truth was so much that they found that this order is very, very genuine. And this order was violated. And that's how the present group of gurus came into existence. In one of his interviews, Madhu Pandit said that while he was in IIT Mumbai, he was so frustrated spiritually that he thought of committing suicide. And then on the day he wanted to commit suicide, he read Srila Prabhupada's book, Ishvara Paramaskrishna, that book, Paramasam. And then he reversed his decision. And from that day onwards, was totally devoted to Srila Prabhupada. And then when these people found this letter, they saw the genuinity of this, that these genuine and these present gurus have violated this, and say they held discussions with the GPC. So see, this is not safe. The proper gurus, Srila Prabhupada's guru. So the discussion went on, but that was futile. And finally, when they continued to hold on this stand, Madhu Pandit and his group were expelled. So to protect Naturally, you have to protect the system of the Ritvic system. You have to have control of temple. Everything is dependent control only, yes. So the Bangalore group filed a case in the High Court, in the Judiciary Court in 2001, stating that they are a separate body. The land is registered in the name of ISKCON Karnataka only. The receipt, everything is there. And so the temple belongs to ISKCON Bangalore, separately registered. And Mumbai doesn't have any control on this. So Mumbai cannot interfere into activities. So case was there. And in 2009, the judgment was passed in favor of Bangalore group. The Bombay group appealed to High Court and they won the case in 2011. The judgment was in favor of Bombay group. The Bangalore went approached the Supreme Court in 2011. And the last 14 years, this case was pending in ISKCON Mumbai. Sorry, in the Supreme Court. In 2013 and 14, during that time, Supreme Court said, why you should bring up this court, in this case, no court. You should settle it between yourself, your spiritual organization. Why should you bring it in the court? Why don't you mediate? Why don't you have some discussion, come to compromise? So some kind of mediation started between these two groups. And in the mediation, demands were raised by Mumbai group. Few demands, 5 demands, in fact. The first demand was that the temple should be handed over, Bangalore temple should be handed over. Second demand was that the president, Madhudas Pandit, and the vice president, Chanchalapati, should not be involved in management. Like that, 5 conditions, they gave it to Bangalore temple, and Bangalore temple agreed all these conditions, provided one condition is that in all that, not only you take not only the Bangalore temple, all the temples, at that time they had some 20 or 25, take all the temples. We are willing to give it up. We don't want to be in management. We agreed all your conditions, except in our temples, only the Ritvic system of the initiation should be there. No other thing. Bombay outrightly rejected that and said that was the end of mediation. So now the judgment has come. It's in favor of Bangalore only. So this is a case. It is not simply related to our property. It is related to Guru Tattva, specifically initiation only. And it is very clearly can be seen that if you take all these 3 documents together, it can be very properly understood that Ritvic system is the one ordered by Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada is a sole initiating spiritual master, a Disha Guru of ISKCON for all times to come. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.